Everybody needs networks of other people. It's impossible to make a community and without networks. In 1956, I think it was, that Eisenhower said that the automobile industry was the backbone of the American economy and that you had to keep people working. And that's why mayors all over the country accepted this, even when their constituents were yelling that it was ruining their communities.
There is a big health problem in America today, and lack of physical activity plays a major role. Our culture is becoming more sedentary as we design physical activity out of our daily lives. What is the link between the places we build and our health? How can neighborhoods, buildings, and streets make us more active and healthy? Jane Jacobs, revered as North America's great activist on behalf of healthy cities, has been observing urban environments and how they work for most of her life.
I think a good place to begin, trying to make neighborhood hearts where the action is. If people get fond of their district, their neighborhood, and stay there, and if the city is working the way it should, they begin to get connections, they begin to, in the next generation, to get better educations and so on. And all of this is reflected in the neighborhood. A heart is not in disembodied things that you just set down arbitrarily, like choosing a shopping center site. It has to have an anatomy that runs into the neighborhood. And the anatomy, the clue to it, is what you always hear when people talk about a hangout. Oh, it's the corner store, or it's the corner bar. There's always that word corner. What does that mean? Well, actually it means that there's an intersection, and this corner is a powerful place if that intersection is of two or more pedestrian paths that go into the community. That's the anatomy that a heart has to have. The very essence of, is the place going to be interesting to walk in? Is it going to be useful to walk in? Is it going to get more so? Is it going to get less so? Now, over time, if the heart is successful, it's going to change. Taking neighborhoods that exist already, and maybe they're not very attractive, and maybe they've only got poor people in, and maybe they've only got immigrants in, but thinking, what can you do here to keep these people here and to make them feel that they're valued? So you have to pay attention to what the people in the neighborhood want. One thing they want is they don't want to live in an undignified place where it brands them as second or third class to be living there. So there are quite, not expensive, but thoughtful things that can be done to show it isn't a second or third class place. Tree planting, traffic taming, putting in markets at the right time. That's one thing that would be meaningful and hopeful for the future.
People around the world, from urban planners to public health officials to government leaders and grassroots activists, are coming together to create healthier and more livable communities. From Sydney, Australia to Asheville, North Carolina, networks of people are finding ways to create places that support healthy activities like walking and biking.
I remember when we came here to Toronto in '68, the only people who rode bicycles were kids, and mostly with those big balloon tires, and now just no end of adults use them to go to work, to do their shopping. This has only happened with a lot of encouragement from the city itself, with bicycle paths and bicycle racks and arrangements for people taking them on transit, and always opposed by automobile clubs and the usual suspects who want the roads entirely for cars. But I get hope from when I see how bicycling has burgeoned. Toronto has just, the council has just adopted a pedestrian charter which states that walking is the most sustainable form of transportation, and it should be everybody's right, and that everything that's done, every planning decision that's made and so on, should take into account what it does to pedestrianization. You don't have to put the children into cars for everything to transport them, where they can go to school in groups on their own or on bikes. It becomes the freedom that goes with that for everybody concerned. And when children latched on themselves to something active and free like skateboarding, this shouldn't be automatically disapproved of and attempts made to shoo them out of here and there. No, this is a healthy thing. And there are some places where that has been recognized. Good places provided for them to do their weird skateboarding things. That's part of freedom. I stay away from visions of the cities of the future. Any city at all that's worth learning from or considering has parts that work. And so what should we study? We should study the parts that work and the parts that people use. All hypotheses get tested in the real world. You don't have answers in advance, and one size doesn't fit all. And the greatest asset that a city can have, or a city neighborhood can have, is something that's different from every other place. Don't think it can be done with wishful thinking or pretty words. Think how to get examples done. And then don't hide the examples under a bushel. Trot them out, use them for public education. Show what they mean. Everybody needs networks of other people, and it's impossible to make community and without networks.